Okay, so we're back with Shayona with part two. We ended last week's discussion on talking about being a dreamer. And so I just want to switch gears a little bit to share the story of how we met. And so I shared a little bit in the first episode where I talked about, to me, it was God ordained how we met in Texas during Women Evolve, where Tiffany and my best friend Ariel, we used to go to Women Evolve every year. It's like our tradition, and how we were all supposed to get hotel rooms, but I think like a week or two before we lost our hotel block, and so we all had to be in the home together. And September 1st is when we left our church, we gave God our yes and answered the call to start a ministry in our home. And how I felt like naked in that time. And I remember PK saying, "Oh, this is so exciting," because she had a house church. And she said, "Are you excited?" And I was like, "Well, no." And she's like, "What do you feel?" And I'm like, I feel naked. Like that is how I feel. And I remember just being in the back of the truck, and Tiffany was behind me, like rubbing my back, because I'm literally like fighting back tears because it was such a raw moment for me. And I explained how when we got back to the house and we sat in a circle, and it was clear that a young lady there needed deliverance. I remember sitting in the chair, and PK had her arm on me, and I was like, she about to put me to work. And PK gave me this look, and she was like, "You ready?" And I was like, "Yes." And in my mind, I'm like, I knew it. I knew she was about to put me in work to work. And so you were there. We had a whole deliverance session. And when it was over, PK told me, "You can do this." And sh you, all of you in the room, and PK was like, "You came at a time where I needed the most encouragement ever." And what drew me to you, which I didn't even, was God, of course, but I didn't know until we exchanged numbers, and I started listening to your podcast. And we were in the same season where God called you and Paul out of Indiana to Arizona at a time where people were asking y'all, like, why do y'all want to do this? And so what I want you to share that. That's one of the stories that I want you to share.
Okay.
One thing that I love that you talk about is when we give God our yes. Like you had a whole social media post on that like a year ago. But what I said at the end of that podcast was our yes hurt people.
Mm.
And that wasn't something that I was expecting to happen or was intentional at all. Like I thought people were going to champion us and cheer us on, like, go with God, go
Yeah.
do what God is calling you to do. But we had quite the opposite reaction. And so shared that story of your transition season and
Yes. So basically it was, let's see, November, December of 2022 that this guy had been talking to Paul. He had a business where he provides online academics for football programs. And so he had been talking with Paul about working with him, and to where he would offer his um, academics to Paul's program that he had in Indiana. And so they had been working on that project together, right? What would that look like and all of that. And so in January, the man came to Paul and said, "Hey, would you like to move to Arizona to be a head coach for a program that we're starting?" And Paul's like, "Arizona? Like, what? Like, uh I don't know if that's possible. Like, I'm going into my third year with my program, and my family, like, we're getting really settled here. It was just like we were in a season where we weren't thinking about moving out of state.
right.
Like, what? So that came out of nowhere. And so immediately, so from January till about March, God starts speaking to me. he gave me 3 specific dreams.
Mm.
And y'all, even in these dreams, I still was like, God, are you sure? Is this you? And so after each one, I know he was like, this is my daughter. I know how he know how I am. Like, I want to be sure, right? Because I want to do what God wants me to do. So I never want to move
Amen.
impulsively, right? And so
Amen.
he gave me 3 specific dreams that was saying, Arizona, 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 right?
Hmm.
And I shared them with Paul, and he already knows how I am now. So he already from the first dream was like, "Well, it looks like that's what we're gonna be doing." I was like, "Well, let's make sure."
Wait,
And
so God showed you before he showed Paul?
yeah,
And then Paul, with the first dream, Paul was like, let's go.
yep. He had he. So after that, like he had already like had confirmed that God was wanting him to move. Like he knew he was like, I feel confident in this. Like I'm not hearing a no with this, right?
Okay.
But he always wants to make sure that we're on the same page, right? That
Yeah.
I'm all the way in, right? And so yes, I had these 3 dreams that were very clear about you're going to Arizona, and I was like, what? This is crazy. Like, no, okay, but does that mean now? Is that later? And so then um our son ended up getting really sick. The warfare started happening. So our son got really, really sick in February of 2023 as we're trying to discern, and he got hospitalized for about a week. And that was just a lot that we had to deal with, like to the point of the doctors were like, his kidneys should have been failing
Oh,
the
wow.
where his CK numbers were at. And so yeah, he had got rushed to a children's hospital in another city and all that. So anyways, um after my son got discharged, my friends were having a gathering in Atlanta, and Paul was like, "You need to go hang out with your friends. You've been at this hospital for a week, like And I'm like, but am I gonna look like a bad mother? My child just got out the hospital." Like he's like, "Go, like you need to breathe." So I went, had a great time with my friends in Atlanta, things like that. And so when I got back, Paul picked me up from the airport, and we were obviously having conversations about my trip. We're having conversations about this move that we might make because we're preparing at that time to um, take a trip to Arizona. We were like, let's, because we need to go visit. Neither one of us had ever been, and so as we're driving, Paul's like, "So, what do you think? Do you think we're gonna like make this move?" And I was like, "I don't know, like just waiting. I need God to like make it clear. Like I need him to put it in my face, like that this is it, to where I can't say no more, right? Like
Right.
that, or that I'm not sure." And
Hmm.
so I kid you not, I'll have to send this to you. But we were driving, and all of a sudden a semi pulled out in front of us. Did I tell you
You,
this?
you showed me.
Okay, I showed you. Okay, so
Hmm.
semi pulled out in front of us, and on the back of the semi truck, the car is dirty. Somebody had wrote Arizona,
Arizona.
clear as day. And if you look at the license plates were from Maine. So 2 separate parts, right? Like areas. Um, and so I was like, "Paul, look." And he was like, "You said you needed to see it, God's putting it right in your face." So at that point, it was no more like second guessing any of that, right? It was like, this is what we're supposed to be doing. So we went, visited Arizona, and we was like, wow, this is it. Like we loved it, all of that. And as you were saying, like you think people are gonna be like excited and all that. No. It was, are you sure? Is Paul trying to chase a dream? It was all the like, y'all trying to move the kids, and is that a good idea? And it was just all the things, right?
Yeah.
And but we stood firm, like we knew this is what we were supposed to be doing. And when we had conversations with our kids, um, and let them understand like this is what God has shown us, they were like, okay. Like there was no like resistance, right? Obviously they were like, man, this is gonna be a move, right? It's gonna be hard. Um, but they were all in. So once our unit, our household was all in, nothing else even mattered after that.
That part.
Like we were in it and we had to answer to God. But all the tears and like it was a lot. And even at our going away party. Oh, like it's okay. But at that going away party, like so many people came from the community. And when I tell you tears, like we did not expect all of that. So it just shows the impact that you have on people's lives. And we didn't realize it was to that extent,
Yeah.
right? But we gave God our yes, and you know, that was March when we knew for sure, and we were here by the end of May.
Yeah.
That's that's
Like,
how quickly it happened.
yeah, we didn't know our level of impact either until someone said to us, it's like you all are leaving the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, we're not leaving. Like, we're
Yeah,
just saying yes to God. And
yeah,
the reason why I asked you if God showed it to you before he showed it to Paul is because when I shared how God gave me the vision first, and I said, well, God, you're gonna have to tell your son because he's not going to believe me. I almost didn't like to share that part with people
mm-hmm.
because of how so many people believe God gives the vision to the husband and not to the wife. And
Yeah,
even when we did share that story, oh, people ran with that I was trying to be in control of my husband. Um, they spoke against the prophetic. Like it was a whole thing. Like that's why one of the reasons I felt naked when I met you all because I'm like, what are we doing now? Like the
yeah,
reaction that we expected was not what we thought it was going to be. And so I
yeah,
love that you shared that. I actually this morning I was praying and I said, God, can you send me more women? And this is no shade towards men.
yeah,
Can you send me more women who you gave a vision to?
yeah,
Because I don't know where it comes from that only the men get the vision that the wives
yeah,
don't see it. And so yeah, like I need more voices like that. I need
yeah.
more stories like that. And I just
Mm-hmm.
think for Antonio that he was in a place where he really was um hurt by the prophetic. And so he kind of shut that area of his life down. And I even
Okay.
shared how he told me, even when I was studying with Rig in a master class, how he said, I am the only prophet he will listen to. Like he would not listen to anybody else. And thank God, like he has moved out of that and, is moving in the prophetic. And we even serve at Rig together on Sunday mornings with giving people prophetic words and praying for them. But God speaks to wives as well
Yeah,
as he speaks to husbands. And
yeah,
so I just want that to be clear. And it doesn't make us out of order. Like I
mm-mm.
am a submissive wife, and how you were talking about you and Paul wanted to be on one accord, like
Mm-hmm.
and be in God's will. Like it was vitally important for me and my husband to be in God's will.
Yeah,
And um God confirmed the what I saw through a
mm-hmm.
prophet um the day before we were to leave for Antonio to get his eldership license for the church that we were in. God confirmed everything I told Antonio, the vision he gave me through a prophet the day before we were set to leave. And I ugly cried on social media. Like
Yeah.
I broke down.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was over, Antonio said, why are you crying so hard? And I said, because I tried to tell you.
Yeah, yep, yep. Mm, I love that.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I'm grateful that both of us have husbands that trust us, right? They understand the
Yeah,
gifts that God has given to us, right? We are their helpmate, right?
yeah,
And so that means that sometimes we're going to have to come in to help them see something that God is trying to do, right? It doesn't mean we're trying to take over, right? Like we are leading our homes together, right? And like you said, being submissive, we're submissive to each other, right? But yes, there are times where our husband has to take the full lead and we have to trust that. But there's sometimes where God brings us in to be that balance as well, right? To help them understand and see what God is trying to do. So, yes, that's where a lot of people have to get out of this religion stuff, right? And actually get in the word and understand what it's saying, what it means, and how God can use the husband and the wife, within the home. So we all got gifts. And so he wants us to use them. So absolutely.
okay. We
Absolutely.
not meant to just fry the chicken and teach the children. Don't get me started.
No,
Ooh.
seriously. Yep.
Yes, yes. So
Oh man.
before we departed, when we were leaving Texas, Holy Spirit told me to tell you to speak up and to use your voice. And you have been doing it ever since. But once we connected on Instagram, I saw that you had like thousands of followers. And so I was like, Lord, why did I have to tell her to speak up and use her voice? Because clearly she's been doing something with all these followers.
Yes, I remember you saying that. And I remember I was like, who is she not know? Hold on, wait a minute. Like hold on, and so yes, that definitely was confirmation for me, right? Like I needed to speak up, speak out, stop trying to shrink back, right? And so yeah, I definitely, I will never forget that at all. And so I was like, okay, I gotta connect with her because she's speaking, she's speaking to
Glory to
me,
God.
right? And so, yeah, I definitely knew that there was for sure, right, a connection there, right. And so I was grateful from that point on for sure, because again, the prophetic stuff was even new for me.
Yeah,
That whole weekend changed my life as well.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And
yep,
the title of my first episode coming back is called Divine Disruption slash My Prophetic Journey. And, Antonio, yeah, he was like, that's great because you literally turn a page. And so in the church we were in, I was just known for teaching children's church, um, supporting my husband, which was great. I love to this day. I
yeah,
love children's church. I love the youth.
yeah,
And again, feeling naked, feeling raw, there's so many things I wouldn't put out into the world because I told Antonio, they don't know this side of me. Like they don't know prophetic Tia. They about to be
yeah,
like, who she think she
yeah,
is? Like, and so he has been my biggest champion. Like I can't, we share an office together. And before he started serving with Rig, I was just serving with Rig. And we give prophetic words to the partners once a month. And he would just turn around and be like, in awe. He's like, I'm so in awe of how God uses you. And so I shared before how I never, even with being a dreamer and a seer, I almost did not finish the courses at Rig because most of the people at Rig hear. And to me, I'm like, that's so easy. Like you just hear what God is saying and you say it. But as a
yeah,
dreamer and a
yeah,
seer, you see it. And then you got to press in and be like, well, what does that mean, Lord?
yeah,
And so to me, I don't want to call it the more difficult gift, but it's the
yeah,
gift that takes more time
mm-hmm.
to me
Yeah, yeah,
because of the interpretation level of it. And so this season of Story Tell Her will be about the prophetic because the prophetic has a bad rep. And one thing that I want people to know, because New Age is on the rise, that you don't have to turn to new age. There are pure prophetic voices that hear and see from God. And so, yeah,
That's so good. So I feel like we could even keep going with that.
we
I ain't gonna
can. We can.
no, that's good and so true. And so I'm definitely looking forward to everything you're going to be talking about with
Amen.
that. Yeah, that's going to be something that people need. It's needed in the season, right?
It's
We
neat.
see everything taking place, and this is the time. This is
Yeah.
the time that we can't we can't afford to shrink back anymore. We cannot afford it. Like
We
it,
can't. And I'm in the season of where I'm like, Lord, how did I even allow that to be a thing?
yeah.
To shrink back. Because the
Mm.
enemy is not playing with us.
No,
Like
not at
gloves
all.
off.
Yeah,
Let's
because
go.
he ain't shrinking back.
At all. Like everything is right in our faces. And so it's
Yeah.
time. Um, this one pastor I met, his first name is Miles. I can't remember his last name, but he wrote a book that is called Using Your Voice or Raise Your Voice. And he said everybody got a voice in the world except for the Christians. Like we gotta speak up because everything is loud and clear and it's in front of our faces. And I
Yep.
think that one of the things that we shrink back from is war. Like
Hmm.
you talk about the spiritual war that came. I spoke about that in the episode that I did.
Hmm.
What I didn't say is that the spiritual warfare almost wanted me to be like, Lord, I don't know if I want this. Like it was,
No, for real. Yeah.
I mean, it was coming from every which way. It's still
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yep.
still coming. And
Mm,
so now my prayer is, Lord, teach my hands to war
mm. That's good.
because the enemy is not going to stop when we give God our yes.
Yep. Yep.
He's not going to stop.
Yep. You're right. You're all right. So it's like game on. Let's go.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
I think what you were saying as far as like what makes people shrink back, right? Like I think Christians have I feel like that is the religion that is like attacked so much, right? Like you hear people really going in, right? Christians this, Christians that, right? And
Yeah.
so there's all this negative connotations, right, that are placed on a Christian, right?
Hmm.
And so for us to be able to walk fully in it, right? Especially when things are new, right? When it's something new from them that they're not used to, and us, right? We're like trying to walk out this prophetic and all that, right? Like this is new to us too, right? And so people like, what is going on? What they talking about? And we like, I know what he want me to do, but I'm like playing double dutch with this thing too because are they really ready? Am I really ready?
That
And
part,
so
am I really ready?
yeah, it just keeps us like trying going backwards, and shrinking ourselves. And it's like, no, like this is who I am. You either gonna accept it or you're not. And if not, I'm gonna be for the people that are ready to receive whatever it is that I have to put out there, right? Because people's lives are at stake.
Yeah. And that's the greatest lesson that I had to learn is to know who I'm assigned to.
Mm.
Because, all these people closest to me, I'm like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and da 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 and da 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 and blah blah blah. And most of them are not receiving anything that I'm saying. And so, one woman gave me the prophetic word and was like, they coming.
Yeah.
They coming. Not gonna do what you gotta do. I'm like, okay, all right. Just long as I
Yeah.
know they coming, because
Yep.
I love them and care about them and,
Yeah.
want them to come, but they're gonna come. Like they're
Yep.
gonna have their God encounters
Mhm.
on God's
Very-
timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
It's
our
time.
time is not God's time, and that is what God is dealing with me in as far as divine disruptions. Because we can make all these plans and then God will come right on in there. The example is my husband getting his eldership license and the day before he like, well, y'all coming out and y'all about to do this. Say what now?
Right.
We had a plan. We
Yeah.
were
Oh
gonna serve
yeah.
right where we were, right
Mm-hmm.
what we're used to and what we know, and
Yep.
cross out of that to pioneer something new.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, as long as you and your husband and your children
Mm-hmm.
were on board. Like one of the things Tiffany always says to me is that she loves that our children have a front row seat in this and they're
Yes.
building with us.
Yeah. This is a part of their journey too.
Yeah.
This is a
Yeah.
part of theirs. Yep. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited we had this
Me
conversation.
too. And I
Um,
I enjoy we can go on
I,
and on.
I know because I'm back because like you said, I feel like we could just keep going on and on and on. There's so much to
It's a
talk
lot.
about.
It is
Yeah,
so much to
yeah,
talk about.
yeah.
Well, I'll have you on again in the future because
Okay.
obviously we have so much to talk about, but I have to go. I'm recording this at nap
Yes.
time.
Yes.
I gotta
Yes.
go make lunch. But thank you. God bless you.
Yeah.
I love you and Paul. Like y'all support us. Your kids are so precious. I'm watching y'all like kingdom family doing kingdom work.
Yep. Yep. Likewise, love you. Thank you. And I'm super excited for what you're doing. Keep going. Be obedient.
Powerhouse women,
That's right. That's it. We got this. We
we
got
got
this.
this.
God's got this. But we got it. We
We
got it.
got
He
it.
got us.
He got us. Y'all,
Yeah.
okay, last thing, right? Okay, because I talk about how important it is to have accountability partner, and Shayana is one of my accountability partners. I wouldn't even be recording this right now if it wasn't for Shayana holding me accountable to what God is calling us to do. So thank you, sis. God is
Yes.
doing a great work through both of us, and
That's
I
right.
love it. I love what God is doing.
Yes.
All right, talk
I
to you
agree.
later.
All right. See,
Bye.
yeah. Thank you.